My name is Gloria Diaz Ventura, and I am the Director of Admission at Flintridge Sacred Heart Academy. It's such a pleasure to see a few of you here tonight. I would like to begin by highlighting the reason why we host this event, and then introduce our fabulous math department chair. But to begin, I appreciate this opportunity to connect with prospective families and highlight a particular academic department. And we've done this the last couple years, and then we take the recording and we place it on our website. And the goal is really to highlight the way that we teach on the Hill, the content that we cover, and also the ways in which our faculty connect with our students. So if you know somebody who isn't able to join us tonight, not to worry. We will be posting this recording on our website under our admission page. So I will shortly introduce you to our main speaker of the evening, but I would also like to share that we are open to your questions. So feel free to use the chat as we move along. This is meant to be conversational and meant to be an opportunity for families to learn further about our math department. So with that, I would like to introduce our wonderful math department chair, Carol Jones. And so go ahead and take it over, Carol. Thank you.
Thanks, Gloria. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all well. Welcome to our information session. My name's Carol Jones. As you can tell, I'm not from these parts. I'm from Manchester, England. Having said that, I have lived in the United States just over 20 years now, and I'm a US citizen. Just a quick resume, I guess. I was the vice principal at the British International School in Houston, Texas for 12 years. And I am now in my 9th year here at Flintridge Sacred Heart. There's our little motto amongst friends, and we say that Disney is not the happiest place on earth. Flintridge Sacred Heart is. We're the real happiest place on earth. I've worked in a lot of international schools all over the world, and I can honestly say without doubt that this is the best place I've ever worked at. It's not just because of the amazing campus that we have, but it's the fact that we really are one big family. The staff are a big family, the students are a big family, and we have this great relationship with each other, all of us. There's so much spirit in the school. We have a really great mission, and as a Catholic school, we incorporate a lot of our beliefs into our teaching. I'm not Catholic, but it doesn't mean that we don't still follow, just being nice people, and creating a safe place for our students, and being caring and compassionate, and treating every student as an individual. And because we are relatively small, I mean, my school in Houston, there were 1,200 students in, and we were pre-K right through to 12th grade. So here, to me, it's a tiny place by comparison. And you do really get to know each individual student and form really strong bonds with them. And in the night, we've got teachers at this school that, they've been here over 30 years. Two of my very good colleagues and friends have been here 31 years, both of them. And they still have that passion for our school and belief, and just, it's just unbelievable, really. It's very hard to explain unless you're actually part of it and seeing it every day. And we kind of take it for granted because, that's who we are. And I think that the way that they employ people at our school as well, they have to have these core values that we all believe in. And I think that's why we form such a great family. And we try and pass our strength and, our integrity and everything on to our students and make them great women. And we've got some incredible success stories. Everybody who leaves our school is a success in one way or another. Not everybody's academic. Some students do both academic and athletics or theatre. They all have these incredible strengths in their own field, and they all leave with an amazing academic education. But it's not just that, it's about the rounded person, the whole package, and what they can offer the world moving forward. And I feel that they leave our school with so many tools in order to survive and move on to college and have a great career and a great life. And there's so many, I think it's very telling when you've got so many students who come back to the Hill and see us all. They keep in touch with us, they come and visit, and our alums speak at functions and junior ring ceremony. Gloria, my lovely friend here and colleague, is an alum of the school, and she kindly agreed to speak about the history of the ring, the junior ring, which she then passed on her ring to her daughter, who is one of my juniors, which it was a very special event. And we do have these incredible moments, that we love so much. So I've been here 9 years, and I am chair of the math department. And I've got an incredible team. Kurt Nish, who is one of the people who's my friend, who's been here 31 years. And he also runs cross country and softball. I am junior moderator, so I'm the fun one. I get to run all the nice things and fun things. I've just taken 108 students to Halloween Horror Nights last Saturday night till 2 o'clock in the morning. All my juniors and some residential life students. That's my little trip of the year that I do. I also plan and run the junior ring ceremony, which we had last week, which was amazing. And I'm also in charge of running prom. So because we're quite small, we have prom for the juniors and the seniors. And so I run that every May as well. We do the Peterson Museum in Hollywood, and we do NOR in Pasadena, and that's for the juniors and the seniors. And that's also a really great event. Many staff turn up to that as well, because it's a really fun evening. So that is my dual role as well. And then I've got 3 other members of staff, one who all are incredibly well qualified. They can teach across the board. My specialty is statistics and AP calculus. But I actually do teach freshman advanced algebra as well. So between us all, we've got all the bases covered. We could deliver a very strong and varied curriculum to our students to meet their needs, their individual needs. So how does our math curriculum run? So what happens, before I start that, has anybody got any questions before I move on? Because I talk a lot and I talk fast. Sorry about the accent. I hope you can understand me. Any questions, anybody? Okay, so moving on. So once we have sent out our offer letters to your daughters, once you've applied and gone through the process and had the interviews, and you get the offer letters, we have a very quick turnaround. And what we do is we give a placement test to every freshman coming in. And this is a mandatory test, and we invite everybody in. This year we did it on a Friday. It's like the beginning of April, end of March, beginning of April. And we invited everybody in on a Friday straight after school. And the ones who couldn't make it then came on a Saturday, the day after, on the Saturday morning. And what this test consists of is, the first one is just 50 questions, very basic number skills. So it's things like, decimals, fractions, percentages, ratio, time, speed and distance, some angle stuff as well, a little bit of geometry, but not a lot, and some very, very basic algebra, just substituting numbers in as, a plus b when a is 6, b is -3, that kind of thing. Very basic, and that's only a 25-minute little test. So they do that, no calculators. And then there is another one, which is a problem solving one. And that's 35 minutes. So it's just over an hour, because we give them a little 5-minute break between. Again, non-calculator. And that's more applying number work and a little bit of geometry and shape and space, like identifying what the name of a five-sided shape is, all the kinds of stuff that is your basic skills that should be taught in middle school. And then at the very end of it, there's about 4 or 5 questions that are a little algebraic, because we do know that a lot of students cover a lot of the Algebra 1 course in middle school too. And then I grade the whole thing. So to make sure we've got consistency, I grade all those papers. So because there was like 120 students took them last year, I had 240 papers to grade that weekend. So I did that, and then I can see where the weaknesses are. I have a big spreadsheet, and I know which questions were answered well, which questions were okay, and which were really difficult. And I look at all those students, and dependent on those results, we invite students to come back and take an algebra placement test, which this year we tried to do some on the same day if they wanted to stay and they knew already that they wanted to try and test out of algebra. But they can come back at a different time, and we plan that nearer the time dependent on the number of students. So what that is a calculator test, and that is a lot of Algebra 1 work. Now, the whole purpose of that is to zoom in on their algebraic skills, because what happens with our middle schools and the math teachers is, because there is no set program across all schools, they create their own I get confused with which grade they do it in, but the grade before they come to our school, so it'll be 8th grade, won't it? So in 8th grade and 7th and 8th grade, they start trying to teach algebra, and they do bits of it, but firstly, they don't necessarily do it the way that we would do it, and they certainly don't do it in the depth that we do it. Now, some schools do, and some get students through quite a lot of the Algebra 1 course. And what I think they do is they may, I've no evidence of this, but my perception of it, seeing these students, is that they fast track them a little bit, and they give them extension work maybe during that year to give them more depth of knowledge of algebra skills. So what I try and do is I try and look through all these different papers and look at where people are at. And then we invite students to attend summer school before they join us as a freshman. So this is there's 2 purposes for this. If they perform really well, or if they take the algebra test and they perform really, we've got 2 different sections, so I'll go from the top down. So if they take the algebra test and they perform extremely well, it's out of 60. And if they're getting in the 50s out of 60, they've pretty much covered Algebra 1. They've done it. They're done. And so what we do then is we would recommend that they either go straight into honours geometry, or they could go into Algebra 2 if they are really super smart, like getting almost everything right on all the tests. But they would skip the geometry, but the following year, between freshman year and sophomore year, they would have to do geometry in a 6-week summer school course. There is no alternative. If you're going from straight into Algebra 2, you have to do honours geometry in summer school between the 2. The alternative is that you can come in as a freshman and do honours geometry for the year, and then be on that path where you would then do honours algebra 2 as a sophomore. So that gets the top end already into the honours programme. So the next level down, we have students who show a great potential in algebra, that they've got a lot of basic skills. They're not right at the top end. They haven't finished absolutely everything, but they have sufficient to show me that they do have a depth of knowledge in algebra. So for those students, they are invited in to come to my summer school, which is 3 weeks before they become a freshman. And in those 3 weeks, I will teach some advanced algebra to those students. And if that class, and this year I had about 38 students who 2 classes of summer school. And out of those, there were about 20 of them, maybe 20 to 25 of them, showed me that they have the potential to do advanced algebra. And so they were recommended, and most of those are now in my advanced algebra class as freshmen. Now, 1 or 2 of those students wanted to have a go, even though they didn't feel that confident. Some of them are still with me, and a couple of them, after a few weeks, went, okay, this is too much. I can't do this. It's a lot with all the other subjects that I have to balance and my sports and everything else, and it needed a lot of commitment. So they said, okay, I'm going to just do regular algebra, and that's totally fine. And then we have the other group of students who we identify as maybe needing some extra help before they come to school. They need to have a bit more ground knowledge of algebra. And so we make that a mandatory course, and we would send out a letter saying that this is highly recommended that your daughter attends summer school to do our algebra skills course and get them on track to be ready to take on. It's like a pre-algebra course to get them ready to join a freshman algebra class when they arrive. Now, occasionally we have students who need even more support, that maybe math just isn't their thing, or maybe they've struggled with a teacher in the past and they haven't grasped some basic knowledge. And we do have Miss Payne, who runs the English class as well as the summer school for students who need extra support with English. And they can get extra help with her. And we, as teachers, my colleague who teaches the regular algebra class this year, she has 2 freshman classes. She's always giving up her lunchtime, and we have study blocks as well built into timetable and flex blocks. So into the daily schedule for students, maybe once a week, they will all get a free period, which is a flex or a study block. And that's when you can go and get help off your teachers as well. So that provision's put in. So what I'm trying to get across to you is that it doesn't matter what level your daughter is at math. There will be a program in our department that will fit and that they will fit into. And we can tweak it. We've got a bit of flexibility, moving around and everything. But we're pretty good at, when we've done the placement test and the algebra test, and we've got the summer schools, our aim is to make sure that we have got every student in the freshman year placed in the correct group and on the correct path for the future. So that is what we are striving towards. And we've been very successful. We've only had 2 students out of 100 and whatever it was, 12, I think, in the end. We only had 2 students that had to move classes because they were placed in the wrong group. And so I think that's pretty good that we did that. It works. The way we do it works, for sure. And there's consultation with parents as well. We also take into consideration the recommendations from the teachers in the middle schools. We read all the reports. So if we're unsure before we place them, if we say, we're not sure, are they basic algebra, regular algebra, or are they advanced algebra, then we pull up the school records and we look at what they've taken and what the school recommendation is and what the math teachers said about them. And that could sway us one way or another. And in the past, I've even called the school and said, okay, can I just confirm that this is what this student's done, to make sure we are 100% putting them in the right place. So that is very important to us. The message I have for math teachers in middle schools is please, please, please focus on number skills and basic problem solving. We do not need you to make sure that every student can do algebra. That's what we do. That's our job. If you've got some fabulous students that are very capable of getting, to a higher level, absolutely fine as extension work. But what I don't like to see is when teachers push a student to be doing algebra when it makes them anxious, it gets them frustrated, they're struggling with it, and they're trying to do too much too soon. And that completely puts them off. People will say, oh, I hate algebra. And I think a lot of the reason why students say that is because they've had a bad experience learning it. And algebra relies on a lot of basic numerical skills. And I need people to know the times tables. I need to be able to say 7/8 and someone will go 56 straight away. Our students across the board do not do that. There are very few of them come in with that, you know. So as a parent, I would say, you know, over the dinner table, let's do 5 multiplication questions, you know. Say, okay, 7 5s, 8 3s, you know, and 7 6s, and get them like this, because it amazes me how students from all middle schools, all of them, they focus on the calculator and they'll pick it up to do 3 times 8. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they'll go, oh, yeah, 24. And they just automatically pick the calculator up. And we're picking the phones up to use the calculator, but we don't like them have the phones anymore. So that solved that problem. So, yeah, basic number skills. It blows my mind when students cannot do negative numbers. You know, that is one of the main things that they fall down on. Fractions, negative numbers, that kind of thing, which is basic skills to me. And I think that that is our benchmark, that when they arrive to our school, our expectation as a math department is that the middle schools have given them sufficient depth of knowledge in basic number skills for us to then take that and start teaching them the harder stuff and the algebra stuff. So that's where we're at with the freshmen coming in. Has anybody got any questions about the paths of the freshmen and the alternatives? Because after that, I will talk to you about how we progress through the next years going through the school. So if anybody's got a question, please feel free. Anybody? Yes, please unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm Micah.
Hi,
I have one
Micah.
question. Hi. If your student has gotten some basics of geometry after Algebra 1, do you recommend keeping them on geometry if they've gotten through half of geometry, or advancing to Algebra 2 and doing the geometry?
Right, okay, good question, great question. So we have found in the past that the depth of knowledge for people who have been taught geometry in middle school is not very strong. I do not remember one student in 9 years who has come in and not taken geometry either as a freshman or as summer school. Now, there's nothing to say that you can't, if you feel that you've got all the algebra skills and we recommend you to do honours geometry as a freshman and say, we'll go into that, and you decided that you would like to do honours geometry in summer school, you could join summer school geometry for 6 weeks before you join us as a freshman and get it out of the way. And then you would be tested by Nish, who is the person who takes the 6-week course in the summer. It's very intense. It's very fast paced. There's a lot of homework to do during that 6 weeks, and it's full on. You can't miss a day. You've just got, it's full on every day for 6 weeks. But at the end of it, if you make the grade, and I think it's a B+ or A-, I'm pretty sure it's an A- to stay in honours geometry, to pass the honours geometry. But it could be kind of, we look at the B+ as well. Then you will be on the honours programme and you will go into honours algebra 2. However, there is a little bit of caution there that I would give you. If you do not make that grade as an honours student, you would be put in regular algebra 2 and you would not be able to get back onto the honours programme. So that is the risk that you take by doing that. So my recommendation would be that you either, if you're really super smart with the algebra and ready to go into algebra 2, you would do the geometry honours summer school the following year between freshman and sophomore year. Or you could say, okay, I'll do freshman honours geometry. So it would be your choice, what you feel most comfortable with in conversation with your parents and conversation with us as members of staff. Does that answer your question in a very long-winded way?
No, that's really good. Thank you.
Okay, great. Any other questions at all? Okay, so I have got this, which is my little flow chart, which we give out at open house. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give Gloria the QR code so that she can post it on our website as well, and you can download this package that I've got here. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this. So this is our program for over 4 years. So I'm going to talk through how you would progress going from the lower level up to the higher level. So if you came in as a regular algebra student and you followed regular algebra as a freshman, in sophomore year, you would go into regular geometry. Now, if during that year as a freshman, you felt, I think I can do this summer school geometry, you could do that summer school geometry at a regular level and then go into regular algebra 2 as a sophomore. Okay? If you are in regular algebra 2, you would then the following year go into pre-calculus, regular pre-calculus. So you'll have done your algebra 1, and then you will have done regular geometry, either summer school or sophomore year. So if you've done it in summer school, that means as a sophomore, you would be algebra 2 regular. As a junior, you would be regular pre-calculus. And then as a senior, you would do statistics. That would be the program for a regular student. Okay? If you were an advanced algebra student as a freshman, when you became a sophomore, you would be highly recommended to do honours geometry at summer school, as in all my advanced algebra students do the geometry summer school. And then they go into algebra 2 honours as a sophomore. Then they would do pre-calculus honours as a junior. And then as a senior, they do AP calculus or honours calculus, dependent on whether they want to do the AP program. If you have skipped and you've already gone into algebra 2 as a freshman, you will do algebra 2 as a freshman. You will do the geometry in the summer. You will do pre-calculus honours as a sophomore. You will then do AP Calculus AB as a junior, and then you will do AP Calculus BC as a senior. So you will do 2 AP Calculus in your junior and your senior year. The AP Calculus BC is basically first year college level. So that would be the people who are on that track. Now, in the past, we have had a couple of students who've come in from Asia who are so far ahead of the game with some of their courses that they've done, that they have ended up doing AP Calculus BC as a junior. So as a senior, and it's only been 2 or 3 students, as a senior, they've done an online math course, which is linear algebra, which is very advanced first year, second year college math. So that's what they've done. So like I said before, we kind of custom make these courses to fit the program that fits you. Okay. We also offer, I'll say right now, we don't do regular calculus. Because what we found is that the people who have done regular pre-calculus do not have the algebraic knowledge that is required in depth to do calculus as a higher level, and the regular calculus, there just aren't enough students want to do it. So what we do is I offer this statistics program, which my seniors that I taught last year that did regular pre-calculus, and I'm now teaching them as seniors who are doing statistics. So we're doing a lot of analysis, we're doing a lot of data analysis, we're doing a lot of collection of data, we're doing some project work, some hypothesis testing, all the stuff that is very statistical and gives you a great depth of knowledge and background and understanding to go on to do any research. People who are doing psychology, business, marketing, all that, biology, some science research, statistics comes into everything. And this is one thing, when I moved from the British system to the American system, I was like, what? You don't teach statistics in a math program? I was so like, why? But here it's like the math program and statistics are like two completely separate courses. Whereas in the UK, they go hand in hand. We teach statistics as part of the math program throughout all high school. So I now teach regular statistics as a whole 1 year course to seniors. And I also have developed a senior research project. Now, I know there's another Zoom call on the senior research project, but basically, just an overview of it is that all our seniors do a senior research project. They study a particular topic, a program in depth. So with things like gender studies, we've got engineering, we've got statistics, we've got psychology, we've got a visual and performing arts program as well. And I think the other one is economics. I'm not sure. I think it's somewhere that kind of field anyway. Oh, no, it's not. It's government. It's government. There's a government one as well. And so my statistics program is a senior research project. You've got to be an AP student or have done honours pre-calculus before you could qualify to do my course. And my course involves picking something that you're passionate about. We do up to Christmas. We do input with high-level statistical analysis and different topics, which are linked very much to the AP statistics course, all the significance testing, hypothesis testing, graphical representation, correlation, all those kind of things. And then what the students do is they pick a topic that they're passionate about, and they investigate it in depth. So one of my students this year is doing, which is quite close to my heart, having come from Texas, why are so many people leaving California to go and live in Texas or Arizona or Nevada? Why is that happening? And what her project is about is she is comparing the economy in both states. She's comparing how much it costs to live, the housing, the tax situation, the minimum wage, all that kind of things, and I know a lot about that because when I moved here from Texas, I was like, because my property taxes in Texas were 4%, I was like, I'm never going to be able to buy a house in California. I didn't realize that every state had a different percentage, and Texas was the fourth highest in the country. And okay, your houses are cheap, but you get absolutely slammed for your property taxes with no state taxes, but they kind of got it back in other ways. So people say, oh, it's super cheap to live in Texas because the gas is cheap. But like my car insurance was 3 times what it was when I came here, and my house insurance was higher. So this student is looking at all these things and saying, is it really cheaper? Is it significantly cheaper to live in Texas than it is in California when we look at all these different aspects? And she's passionate about that because she's got some family live there, and her parents are thinking when they retire, they might move over there. So she's doing it from like, why are my parents thinking like that? So she's got this kind of, sort of background and awareness of what's happening. And she wants to go and statistically analyze whether it is that beneficial to do it. And so she's doing that. I've got loads of different students doing different things. I had one last year who was from Vietnam, and she was comparing water quality in Vietnam with water quality in Los Angeles County, and looking at Ho Chi Minh City and looking at the quality and the cost and all the other things, comparing the diseases. And then we've always had people who've done COVID and the development of it around the world. and marketing things like fast fashion, and the fact that when you return articles that you don't want, some of it just gets thrown away when it's not worth repackaging it and putting it back out there because it's just not worth it. And so everybody's got a topic that they're passionate about. One interesting one this year is, why are people going to Mexico to get dentist work? And, why is that happening so much now? And she's investigating that because she wants to become a dentist. And so she's like, is that really the best thing to do? And another wants to be a lawyer. So she's like, do I live East Coast or West Coast? What are the pros and cons and the cost and all that kind of stuff? So everybody kind of has a topic that they've chosen, and they go and do all the collection of the data. So they've got all the skills now till Christmas that I've taught them, all the different methods of analysing data and producing it and tabulating it and presenting it. And then what they're going to do with that after Christmas is they've already started collecting some data, and they're going to do something that's specific to themselves. So that's a senior research project. That's mine. And there are other members of staff that do the other subjects as well. So everybody does that in senior year as an extra one. And that gives them such an incredible gift in terms of how much they already know about writing a research project when they go off to school. It's I used to teach the IB program. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but that's what I taught, the International Baccalaureate in Houston. And we did that as part of the IB program. And it's all about critical thinking and, really making them think for themselves about how to approach world problems and solve them. Ultimately, that's what we hope to achieve by giving them this. And they do a nice parent presentation at the end of it. People speak. They do a 15-minute presentation to parents in May. We choose some students who've done a really, great job on the projects and are confident enough to stand there and explain it all to parents. So we have a really nice showcase evening in May that parents are invited to. So I think that's it in terms of all the different aspects of the math department and what we're all about. I will say, what you see is what you get with me. This is what I'm like in front of my kids. I'm a little different to American teachers, but they seem to enjoy my classes. To me, just finishing off really on what I want to say is, my passion is math. I love every part of teaching math. And if my aim, I always say this to my students and my parents on day one, I want every student to leave my classroom every day, every lesson, walking out of it knowing more than they did when they came in. That is my mission in every class. Because if I haven't helped them gain some more knowledge, I'm not doing my job. And as part of that as well, I want to create a safe environment for everybody where they feel safe amongst each other. And it's amazing how many students just come and talk to me about things, even though I'm not an advisor or a counsellor, but they trust me. And I like building those relationships with my students. I'm very flexible. I'm strict, but I'm also very fair. Firm but fair. I've just got great students. We have a great relationship, and I really think that's super important as a teacher, to form that bond, not just with the students, but with the families as well, to know that you can always, pick the phone up and talk to me or email me. And I guarantee I will get back to you within a few hours, because I just reply to emails at ridiculous times in the night. But I want you to feel supported by us as a department. And even if either math's your thing, and we will make sure that you reach your true potential. And if it isn't, we will make sure that you achieve the absolute maximum you are able to achieve with as much support as we can give you, whether it's one-to-one group support or outside support, whatever it takes. You'll be in a safe place. We'll guarantee that for you.
Thank you, Carol. We are just so grateful to have you on the Hill. That was just fantastic. I did want to share, as an admission director, I've worked at two other highly selective independent schools, I guess you can say. And I had never seen a math faculty like this before. As prospective families, what I can share to you in terms of admissions, we are unique in that we allow, as you've heard, students to accelerate the way that we do. So that is something that as you're comparing other schools, you will want to ask about. And we do that again because we want the student to connect and engage with the material. It's not about just the test score, the AP exam score, or it's not a means to an end. But if the student is already beyond the level, then why have them go through the steps when our math department is able to teach beyond Calculus BC? About 10 to 12 students a year will go on to multivariable calculus. We do have an online school for girls option where they can go on to, I believe, onto differential equations for a handful of students. So we understand what the fine math mind looks like, and we also understand the math, that math isn't for everybody. And as Ms. Jones mentioned, for someone like me who doesn't connect with math, they embrace students. And same with our science department. It's math for everyone. It's science for everyone. And I think that is really the compelling piece for me. As I'm looking at what other high schools are doing, I come back and I say, okay, Ms. Jones, other schools are doing this. How do we do that? And then I'm consistently blown away by how we allow our students to engage with the math material. I think I also mentioned that I'm a parent of a junior, and Ms. Jones mentioned it. So I see it, I live it in very real time. So I just wanted to put in that perspective for prospective parents as well, just to highlight the differences that we offer in our department compared to other schools. So with that, any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Oh, I see we have someone joining. Hello, Susie. Any questions that you might have for Ms. Jones?
Oh, no, we were here listening. We just wanted to show our faces and wave and thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes, I did see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. And as Ms. Jones mentioned, we are open to emails as you go through this process if you have any other questions. And I will also, as I shared, post this video along with the packet of information that Ms. Jones held up for us tonight, so you can walk through the curriculum trajectory. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Christine, for joining us, and Susie, and we look forward to seeing you again on the Hill shortly. So thank you for joining us.